Hi everyone, it's Bob and Fran, and today we have a very special video for you.
In it, we're interviewed by an amazing couple who we just love. They're Jill and Jeffrey Dalton of the extremely popular whole food plant-based cooking show. It's a good way to learn more about us personally and to pick up some tips and ideas.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy this fun and inspiring presentation.
We want to welcome you both to the show. This is Bob and Fran Ghirman and from bobandfran.com. So the website says that you two are both in your 80s. Do you mind sharing how old you are?
No, we'd be happy to. I'm older than Bob. And for 3 months every year, it's murder, let me tell you, especially when he was 79 and I turned 80. I will be 81 in May.
Wow.
And Bob will be 81 in August.
So it's 9 decades on this planet.
Ninth decade.
And I tell you, the good part is, that's the bad part. The good part is we're feeling better than ever. We have great energy, and we just, every day is just, one day is better than the next. It's a good life we lead.
Yeah, we don't look at our age as a hindrance.
That is amazing. It's such a great example for us to see longevity, and it's possible, and that you can start at any time.
I'd like to just say this. I think that a lot of people, as they age, are under the impression that as you age, you're going to get sick in some way.
Yeah.
And we never believe that. You know, getting older does not have to mean getting sicker. And so if you give in to that, you're going to let your guard down and you will get sick.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. So when a lot of people say, well, how do you do this? I think a lot of it is just attitude, that I don't want to get sick. I want to take care of my body. I want to eat properly. And I don't want to be beholden to doctors and pills and tests and hospitals. I don't want any of that. So that's really why we changed our lifestyle when we both became ill. And we were in our 60s when that happened. So there's
a lot younger than that.
Yeah.
I was 52 when I got sick.
Oh, has it been that long?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Yes. Can you share a little bit more about that, and like how you came to find a plant-based diet?
Yeah,
Sure.
I'll start. In the fall of 1992, we went to China for 3 weeks on a tour. And we both got very sick there, upper respiratory infections, and we were sick for quite a while.
It was very,
the pollution was horrible.
Was very bad.
Would you believe everybody was wearing masks, man to man? So we came home and we got better. And a few weeks after we came home, I started feeling some strange things, very minor things, like certain muscles weren't working 100%, but I didn't give it much thought until I woke up one morning. We were living in South Florida, by the way, near Fort Lauderdale. Woke up one morning and I couldn't open one eye. So we called our doctor and he had us come over and he took one look at me and he said, I think you have Bell's palsy. And I looked at him and I said, no, I think I have myasthenia gravis. Don't ask me where that came from because it's a pretty unknown disease.
I never heard of it.
Right,
before.
very, it's just not a well-known disease, neuromuscular disease. At any rate, he sent me to the neurologist, who was just on the next block. And he said, I can do what's called a tinselin test. He put a shot in my arm of the substance. My eye popped open. And he said, you're right, it is myasthenia gravis.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's not myasthenia gravis in Greek means severe muscle weakness. And it couldn't be named more appropriately, which I'll explain as we go along. So go back to the doctor, my regular doctor, and he said, some things you just never forget. He said to me, And I call this a nocebo. You know what a placebo is when you take a sugar pill and you feel better? A nocebo to me is when the doctor tells you that you'll never get better, and it really, the real downer. So he told me that I would have to be on medication for the rest of my life, that I would never, it's incurable, so I would always have it, and my lifespan would be shortened. That was the nocebo. And they put me on prednisone. I was on prednisone for 14 years. I was on Mestinon, which is another bad drug, for 14 years. I had to take it every 4 hours. So I actually had to set an alarm clock to get up in the night to take this medication, and some others as I went along. But I just decided that I didn't want to just accept that, take it laying down. So I started researching how I could get better. We started practicing Tai Chi and Qigong, and meditation. And I actually went to a chemist, and he checked my body chemistry and put me on some very good quality supplements. And we started walking every morning, because the morning I was stronger, so we'd go walking every morning. But I went through some really horrible times. I went through times when I was so weak that first of all, we were both realtors in South Florida. I had to stop working. I couldn't drive. I had double vision so bad that they couldn't even put a prism in the lens. They had to give me a plastic prism, which looked like I was wearing window blinds. It was horrible, but at least it brought my vision closer together. And very unusual for myasthenics is usually the vision changes from day to day. Mine stayed the same. So after about 5 years, I was sent to an ophthalmological surgeon at the University of Miami, and she did what's called strabismus surgery, which is normally just done on children, because it's not unusual for children to have double vision. They actually had to put strings, and I know this is really weird. I had to be awake for this, so they could line up my eyes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but it helped. It worked.
Well, during this time, we traveled to see over about 11, I think it was 11 neurologists. They all gave her the same report. You're going to be weak. You're going to take medicine. You're going to die earlier than you should.
Nobody really gave me any hope.
Right.
So here we are in South Florida. I mean, there were times when I was so sick, I wound up in ICU for days. But in South Florida, 3 counties with millions of people, I never met another person with myasthenia gravis. Then the year we moved to the small town, 10,000 people in Western North Carolina, the first week we're here, Bob sees in the local newspaper that there's a myasthenia gravis support group in the local hospital. Yeah.
It was crazy.
So we started going to these meetings, and I didn't learn much, but I saw a lot of sick people.
Very sick. It was
and
bad.
one thing I noticed was everybody seemed to have more than one disease, because think of it, when your body breaks down. I had kept myself pretty healthy through all this, just by really, trying to stay as healthy as I could under the circumstances.
Right.
Unfortunately, I didn't develop another disease, but they had heart disease, they had cancer, they had diabetes, you name it. Okay, so I'm not really learning anything. They're serving at these meetings, they're serving cookies
and sugar cookies
and soft drinks, the usual fare.
Yeah.
Then 1 month, they had a clinical nutritionist come from Asheville to speak to the group. And with a series of slides, he showed that even white meat chicken compromises the immune system. And here I thought we were eating so healthy. We were eating white meat chicken and white meat turkey and fish, really boring food. Okay. He suggested that we read Diet for a New America by John Robbins and the China Study by 𝐏𝐿 and Campbell.
Oh, even at that time.
Yes, and I was the only one in the group that took this to heart. I went, got both books, read them cover to cover, and decided that I've got to change my diet. Now, something was also going on with Bob at this time, and he'll explain to you.
Yeah, my story is a lot shorter.
That's okay.
But I was doing some race walking. Race walking is this exaggerated walk, and I would walk 8 or 10 miles a day to keep in shape. I liked keeping in shape, and I've always been slim, and I felt good doing that. And so I would do that every morning for a long, long time. And then one day I decided to switch from the path that I was doing every morning to a different surface. And I started doing the race walking on this hard surface. And I developed a pain in my groin. And it really bothered me. So I went to a local urologist, and he checked me out, and he said, I got to tell you, I can't find anything down there, but let's be sure, because I know you're not a complainer. Let's have you take a CAT scan test, which I reluctantly agreed to do. Well, I'm glad I did, because he took me in his office when the test results came back, and it showed that I had a growth on the outside of my left kidney. And he said, I am not qualified to remove that. It's a very sensitive type of surgery. So he suggested that I consider the Duke Medical Center, which is an internationally acclaimed cancer center here in North Carolina. And so I went there. I contacted a specialist. They flew in special equipment to do what's called a cryoablation surgery. That means they froze off this tumor, froze it off, and then it sort of dissipated. And at that point, he could then take a biopsy. And so then it came the day that I would find out the results of the biopsy. So we're driving back and forth, about a 4-hour drive. And we get to the office, and it was a very stressful time for me. I wasn't used to being sick, and I was praying that I would not be sick. And he came in and he said, well, I took 3 biopsies. 2 were pretty normal, but 1 indicates that you have renal cell carcinoma. And I said, well, would you repeat that? Renal cell carcinoma. And I had him repeat it a 3rd time. And I said, well, that doesn't sound good. What is that? And he said, Bob, you have kidney cancer.
Right.
That was kidney cancer. And he said, the problem with this type of cancer is it's known to return. And and so he wanted to give me a heads up on that, and I understood that. But he didn't tell me to change my lifestyle. He didn't tell me to do whatever. He just said, well, go out, have a good life.
Good luck.
And then when I on the way home, we had that serious drive on the way home. Here I am. Now I'm a cancer survivor. And Fran has got this neuromuscular disease, this autoimmune disease, devastating. We're looking at each other and we say, we got to do something here. And Fran said, it all starts with what we put in our mouths. And so from that day forward, we did a refrigerator makeover and a pantry makeover. And we got rid of, Fran said, well, I said, what are we going to do with all this food? And she suggested, well, maybe you ought to give it to someone you don't like. we didn't want to run down the meat or chicken that we had in the refrigerator or the freezer, but we made a concerted intention a commitment to eat a plant diet, a whole food, plant-based diet. No more meat, no more chicken, no more of that delicious shrimp, no more dairy products, no cheese, Bob. And I tell you something, for me, the going to a plant-based diet was a preventative measure. It prevents me, and now it's a long time ago. That was like 15, 16 years ago.
Wow.
And it hasn't come back. For Fran, going to the plant-based diet actually reversed the
Incurable disease.
incurable disease. So here she is in her 80s, takes no medicine, none.
That is
I tell you,
remarkable.
I get a call every now and then from our insurance company, the health insurance company, asking me if they could send a visiting nurse out to examine me. Obviously, something must be wrong because I'm not taking any prescriptions.
They offered her a gift card to Walmart
Yeah.
to have a nurse come.
Oh my God.
I said, no, thank you. I
You're
said,
you're
"Oh,
messing
I-
with the statistics on their actuary tables.
oh, I'm lousing everything up.
I don't even know people our age that aren't on medication.
Yeah, I like
We're in
the
our
40s
Mid
now.
late 40s, you know, like
Well, you
Everyone
know,
is on stuff.
diabetic, yeah. liver-
we're a lot older than you guys, but let me
Yeah.
tell you, when we were your age, there was no such thing as commercials on TV telling you to ask your doctor if this drug would be right for you.
yeah, ask him.
This is the most
right for you.
I mean,
How
it used
absurd.
to be where if I went to the doctor and I told him how I felt, he'd tell me what to take. Now I'm supposed to go to the doctor and tell him
I want
what I
that
want to
drug.
take.
I
I saw
know,
this
like,
nice
should I
drug.
be taking this drug? Like, what?
And don't you love how it, while everybody's smiling and laughing and having a great time, it's telling you how it can kill you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, or the
Well-
disclaimers, the side effects are worse.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh,
some
yeah.
allergy medication and you're gonna end up with some
your eyes
crazy like
bleeding, yeah.
bleeding from your ears.
So that's our story. We didn't mean to drag it
Okay.
out,
Oh,
but
no, that's
But I want you to know the reason why we do this, why we want our story out there. Because I truly believe that most people feel that it's hopeless when they
It
get
feels too late. Yeah.
And doctors, most doctors, there's a handful, yes, but most doctors have no clue about a plant-based diet being a healthy way to go. I mean,
right.
we've outlived 4 of our doctors already.
4 of our doctors,
Wow,
they're all dead and we're not.
that is amazing.
So,
Fortunately, we do have a plant-based doctor here now, which is
yeah.
good.
Fantastic. Yeah, they are
Most
out
people don't have that.
So it's sort of been our mission in life to, at our advanced age, I guess we could call it. We don't look at it that way, but we just want to spread the word to other people. We want to help those people that are thinking about changing their diet, or they're on it and they're saying, well, I don't know how long I can do this. We just say, stick to it, stay on the wagon, and it'll pay off, especially as you age. We want everyone to live the third of your lives in good
Healthy.
health
Yeah.
and good energy and good longevity, a long, healthy life. It doesn't get any better. So don't throw in the towel. Stay with it.
So you're and so you can stay young because you have grandchildren, right? You have 4 grandchildren.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You,
We're
you
waiting
want to be able
for
to keep
our
up with them, right?
they can't keep up with us. It's crazy.
But fortunately, they are, they've pretty much adjusted their diets too, which is good.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We don't,
We don't push it.
we can't really tell people what to do. We just show it by example.
We try to, we're proof that this diet works. And so it sort of reminds me, I'll just throw in this little anecdote story. When we moved to this little town in North Carolina, it's barbecue country here. The food, the restaurant food generally is, that Southern fried chicken and barbecue sandwiches and all this stuff. And Fran and I had been volunteering at a crisis center in our little town. And I was an intake interviewer, so I would help people who came in who needed maybe groceries, or they needed clothing, or they needed a rent payment or something. I would try to help them as much as I could. And I had this little shabby office. And one morning, a little old Southern lady with sort of bluish hair, she came in and stuck her head in the door before we got started for the day. And she said, "Are you Bob German?" in this real Southern accent. And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." And she said, "Are you married to Fran German?" "Yes, ma'am." "Is it true that you're both vegans?" "Yes, ma'am, it's true." "Can you tell me where that church is located?"
Oh, that's church.
So you
That's
just-
great. That is great.
So she had no idea what a vegan was, and a lot of people don't. But we have done a lot of seminars. Fran puts on these, what we call the Power of Food seminars. And so we're trying to teach people how to go plant-based, or if they have questions about it. And we've converted a whole bunch of people.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And even just being examples, right? You said you hadn't preached to them, or a lot of your family or your grandkids are starting to eat differently.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm starting to have the same experience with my family. They really weren't that interested in what we did or what we do. I mean, they enjoy the recipes, but not enough to do it for themselves.
More like a novelty.
Yeah, because we're not really physically close to them, so it's not like I can just cook for them.
Right.
But just recently, they've called my brother and his wife, and they said, "We're really trying to eat a lot more vegan now." And they've got our cookbook, and they're cooking with my parents. And I was like, they were the last people in my family that I would ever guess would just say that to me. I was kind of floored. I was like, because I try not to push it on anybody either. I'm like, it's everybody's choice. And the best thing you can do is just be an example, like you guys showing us that how youthful you are in your age, and that we need your wisdom. So we need you to be well, right?
It is.
To be able to share that
We
with
have to be very careful crossing the street.
Yeah, we actually used to be 104, and we've been reversing our age every year.
Oh, I'm in. I love it.
But it's fun. I mean, it's fun experimenting with recipes. As a matter of fact, what I do is when I get a recipe, I'll make it, but I won't store it away yet in my recipe file until after we've eaten it.
Right.
Because that's but I did a terrible thing the other day. I made something that neither one of us really liked, so I gave it to somebody.
But it's fun to experiment. Fran's become a great cook, and
I mean,
we have a
think
good
about
time.
it. A few years ago, we didn't have all these choices.
Right.
It was like there was very few options. Now the internet is just booming with I don't like to call them vegan, because you can be vegan and not healthy. Plant-based choices.
Right. Yeah. There's so much out there, and we get the questions sometimes. Like, well, what can you eat? It's like, it's that reductive thing. I'm like, what can't we eat? We are still exploring this whole world, trying all these new products and things, and it's so much fun, and it's so delicious. It just makes, and I mean, eating, I think, is our favorite
One of our
pastime.
hobbies.
We love to eat.
That's
So
terrible.
we love to try all kinds of stuff and all kinds of recipes. So it's a great experience. And to just get started, experimentation is wonderful. Like, people they ask me about recipes, and can I use this in place of this? I'm like, just try it. Like, I haven't tried all of that. Try it. It's not going to turn out bad. It might taste just slightly different, but that's good too.
And I think when you do it for a while, you get more creative. You get more confidence
that
trying things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And also, I think
What?
I was
ahead,
just
I'm
going to
sorry.
say, Fran, it's part of her seminars. She teaches working people who have jobs and they don't have the time to cook every night. That you can easily do batch cooking on the weekends and
Yep.
casseroles and soups.
Soups are wonderful,
And so,
especially this time of year.
yeah, it's cold.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really good for anyone. We say whether you're 28 or 82, it's not too early or too late to start on this path. It's fun.
And another
Yeah,
thing, like I said, we have a plant-based doctor here, and until COVID hit, we started a power
Power of food.
group that met once a month at the local hospital in their meeting room, and it would be a potluck.
It was
And
great.
we'd always have a speaker. And I mean, like, our stories are not unique. There's hundreds and thousands of people who've turned their health around by changing their diet.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be more and more common as time goes on. I mean,
For sure.
that's the hope anyway.
Yeah.
We want everyone to be well. It's so difficult. I mean, I see you guys in your health and just your well-being is amazing. And my parents are not that far behind you guys. And, they're just getting to that point where things are getting a little bit shaky. Yeah. And like, I'm always wondering if I'm going to get some call about something's wrong.
Yeah.
And like, I want them to look like you two. I want them to experience life like you two. That it's just,
Well, we could adapt you.
Maybe when they come in, we'll have you guys out. How far?
All right.
We'll have you out and say, look what you could do. These guys are older than you.
We've noticed too that in the plant-based world, and you mentioned this earlier with vegan, there's younger people tend to go vegan for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yes.
Environmental reasons or ethical reasons, animal rights. But when people really go whole food plant-based, it tends to be because of health issues.
Absolutely.
And the younger people we've seen, it's because they just had health issues at a younger age.
Yeah.
They don't really figure it out. So I think part of that too, to hear that message, like you can be building on your health from a young age. You don't need to get sick and then figure it out.
Right.
Just being vegan isn't enough. The reasons for vegan are fantastic, but
it's a
being
good first step.
plant-based is another step in that, for your health.
Totally. When you get older, you start to see that getting people aren't living longer; they're dying longer.
They're dying longer.
Yes.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't want to do that.
I once heard that if you need to replace a body part, America is the best country in the world to be in, but for health care, we're one of the worst.
That's true.
Because we are pill pushers rather than, keeping people healthy.
Right. Yeah, we need to take
Prevention.
a preventative.
Prevention is so
Prevention
much
is the key.
cheaper.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that leads me, to that point that a lot of people think, oh, well, surely it's more expensive to eat this way. And I'm like, okay, how much are you spending right now on your groceries? And then add your pills and your doctor's visits and your exam, all of that stuff. I guarantee you that you're spending way more on that than this will ever cost you. And at the same time, you're going to feel amazing. Yeah. Do you want to be spending all of that money and still feel terrible?
Yeah. And with COVID also, I know there's a shortage of meat, and meat prices have gone up tremendously.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What a blessing. Really. I mean, really.
Yeah.
For the whole overall picture, that's a blessing.
I like that you find the bright side of everything.
So we've heard quite a bit of your story here. I want to also mention that Bob and Fran also have a book called The 101 Ways to Be Young at Any Age. So if you haven't checked it out, please check it out. Oh, there it is. We've ordered ours.
They have a copy handy.
I can't wait to get my copy. It looks so amazing.
So this is 101 Ways to Be Young at Any Age, and it has a lot of our own personal philosophy There's stuff in there about plant-based eating as well, but there's a lot more to it. So you can get this on Amazon. And I did want to mention that we have an anti-child trafficking organization. And all the money, all the proceeds, 100%, if you buy this book, it's $12 or so, that $12 would go to help keep young girls out of the sex trade, illegal trafficking. So that would be good if you think about buying one of the books.
Wonderful. Well, ours is on our way, on the way.
Okay.
Yeah, we're hoping we were going to get it before the interview. Yeah.
So what was it? Okay, let's see. So what are your plans for the future?
I got it. I got it. Our plan and our goal, and we invite everyone that's watching right now at any age to join in on this. Our goal for the future is to die young as late as possible. That's my goal. Everything else, it'll all unfold
The
beautifully.
way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
But we want to stay young. We want to have that youthfulness, that energy, that feeling, that good feeling, and that's our goal. And we created a YouTube channel that sort of chimes in with everything we've been talking about. And I think I mentioned to you earlier before we start filming that we are the oldest, newest YouTubers ever, I think. We've been told something like that, but we would ask you to check out our channel. It is called Young at Any Age.
Wonderful.
And are you filming everything yourselves? You're doing all the.
I'm doing it. I've become
Everything.
It was we had nothing to do when COVID struck. All our volunteering, which took up about every day of the week, it was
Came
canceled.
to a halt.
So we said, what could we do? So we said, let's try a YouTube channel. It was a high learning curve, but it kept my brain sharp. I also learned something called video editing, which I didn't even know what that was.
Right.
We're doing as best as we can with that. And so we don't have really slick videos, but we have a good message in every one of them, a good takeaway. And so we like to share our wisdom and our own experiences. And it's been a fun experience. I do want to thank you publicly. You have exactly 76.33 times the amount of subscribers and followers on your channel than we do.
Bob did the math.
I did. It's 76.333 times the subscribers that we have. How you ever got to that point is an amazing story, and I do know your story, and I respect that. And I'm just saying, if we could just get 1,000 more subscribers, I'd be very happy.
Well, hopefully after this show, that's right. Hopefully after this show, you'll get a bunch more people following.
It was so nice of you to reach out to us, and I know you commented on a couple of our videos. It made our day, and we're so glad to be on your show. It's great.
Well, we're so glad to have you here. This is our first interview. So what a story. What a great one to start with.
We're the experiment.
Another thing, with COVID, I realized that following a whole food plant-based diet does not mean you can't get sick, but it does mean that you have a better chance of not getting sick. And if you do, you have a better chance of having a milder case.
I think what people don't realize about whole food plant-based eating is that it builds your immune system. It helps ward off illness. And we're all about that. And I also think that in addition to eating properly, if you want to grow older in good health, it's more than just changing your diet. It's more of a lifestyle change. So we would like you, and it's in our book, I don't want to overdo the book thing, but it's how you exercise. It's how you develop energy. So we do something called, it's like Tai Chi, it's called Qigong. We've taught Qigong all over the world. It's so easy to do. We have a lot of free Qigong videos, but it raises your immune system. It increases your energy. It lowers your stress levels. So there's all kind of things, all kind of strategies that are fun, they're easy, and they're helpful to incorporate in your life. And I would strongly encourage you to think about adopting some of these type of habits.
Also, you've probably heard the expression that sitting is the new smoking.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And so many people, as they age, tend to sit all the time.
Too much
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
And
It's
yeah.
just not healthy at all.
Right.
Could you guys talk a little bit I wanted to ask you this, it wasn't in our questions, but what is a typical day, like your morning routine? Or I see a lot of that online of people trying to optimize the free time that they do have in their day. What does your day look like? What is the...
We start our day with what we call the hour of power. So in 1 hour time, we do some stretching. We just do a whole series of stretching. It can be any kind of stretching. We do some aerobic exercise. So for us, it's walking.
Yeah, if the weather is, especially not this time of year, we like to wait till it warms up a little bit, but we usually are hiking by 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning.
But if it's not hiking, it's walking briskly. So it's not walking your dog slowly. It's getting your heart rate up and walking a good, say, 20 minutes. So you stretch for a little, you do some of that. And then we like to play what's called Qigong. It's the ancient Chinese wellness system that is very easy to do, and it does raise that energy and that immunity. So you can do 10 or 15 minutes of that. And then we believe in sitting quietly, changing the whole thing from that action to reaction. So you're just sort of sitting quietly. You can call it meditation, you can call it prayer, you can call it contemplation, but just sitting quietly with a single focused mind intention. So that, to us, just focusing on your breath is an easy way to sit and just count to 4. In breath, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that, even that little technique alone, keep your blood pressure under control. It calms you down. It softens your body, and it clears your mind. And so in that hour, then you can get on with your day. Whoa, but I don't have time to do this. Well, we don't buy that. You will have time. So
get up earlier.
We say get up earlier.
Prioritize. Right?
Yeah.
But what a great way to start the day. We have a very simple breakfast, usually of seasonal fruits and maybe a few nuts. And Fran makes a very good granola cereal.
Whole rolled oats or hot oatmeal this time of the year with steel cut oats.
For lunch, we have usually leftovers from the dinner the night before.
I love leftovers.
Yeah.
But we don't eat a heavy lunch. It's usually a salad with some leftover. Today we had a leftover pizza from the night before, a vegan pizza, which we copied your recipe.
Oh, nice.
I like your chocolate recipes.
We love chocolate.
Oh my God.
We do too. That's why we have so many.
And then for dinner, we make a big deal out of dinner.
We go to a different country every night.
Yeah. So, Fran, we've spent a lot of time in Asia, a lot of time in Thailand, especially. So, Fran, we love any kind of Thai noodle dish or curries or stir fries.
If I have a lot of vegetables, perfect for a Chinese stir fry.
Right.
Or we pick a country. Fran will say, well, where do you want to eat today? Well,
That's such a great idea.
that's a
I
good
love
idea.
that.
we could
Because
have
American food is so boring.
Yeah, I'm going to steal that idea. I love that.
let's have a Japanese, what's that dish in there?
I got an air fryer.
Yeah, what was that you made?
Tempura.
We had tempura vegetables
God.
and mushrooms.
No oil,
God,
just-
was it good?
That's good.
It was so good. So we go to a different country every night.
And it's so much cheaper this way than flying.
We should get a couple recipes from you. We could do them.
That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I love like Thai food, Chinese food.
definitely
It's
is.
right up my alley. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had the opportunity to take some cooking classes, vegan cooking classes. First of all, Thailand is like vegan paradise because they don't use dairy products, number one.
It's not in their diet.
And it's very easy to eliminate the meat portion and substitute tofu. When we were staying in Thailand, we were in Chiang Mai, which is northern Thailand. We could walk to 30 different vegetarian restaurants for dinner.
That's no fair.
I know. We're so
I think we have
spoiled.
But better than that, the dinner would not cost more than $1.
Oh, jeez.
We literally spent between $5 and $10 a day for 3 meals for each of us daily.
For two of us, for two.
Nobody cooks at home because it's
It's so cheap
much
to eat
easier.
out.
Yeah, so it's, as a matter of fact, a lot of houses don't have kitchens.
That is bizarre.
Yeah, because everybody eats out.
One last tip, by the way. We start our day with a glass of fresh lemon squeezed in a glass of water. And that helps clear your system out.
Well, it's
and,
also, from what I understand, it makes you more alkaline.
more alkaline.
And from what I've read, cancer cells can't grow in an alkaline environment. So
Right.
that works.
And then at the end of the day, after dinner, and we usually have a little chocolate dessert,
Because we're really.
but we don't
chocolate
eat anything after that. And so we would advise you, it's sort of that stretching the time that from your
Yeah,
last
your
meal
fast.
till
Yeah.
your breakfast.
Oh yeah.
So snacking, we just had this nice dessert and it just tops things off, and you don't need a snack before you go to bed. I don't think it's too healthy for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, those are great.
That's great tips. Yeah. Hour
Cool.
of power. That's awesome.
Cool. Well, we want to thank you guys
Thank
Oh,
you
so
thank
much.
you.
This is
It's really
such a
nice to meet
wonderful
you. And I
conversation.
can't believe you're practically neighbors.
I know, we are very close. We are very close. So now we know where to go, if we're ever,
We almost ended up in Asheville. We
Yeah.
looked really hard at Asheville.
we did.
Yeah.
We came back.
But it's a
That's
nice
very pricey.
spot for us.
We can always try to get together, but I want to reiterate our appreciation for you having us as your guests. And I don't mind putting our email in the description that you're going to write up. If any of your listeners want to write us, if they have a question, or if they want to comment in your comment section, we'd be happy to answer any questions. And we just appreciate what you're doing, and keep up the good work. You're really helping a lot of people out there.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you guys are too. That's why
We're
here.
aiming to be you.
That's right. We want to see what our future looks like.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob.
We appreciate you. Namaste.
Namaste.